Hey book besties, welcome to my May reading wrap up. We are going to be going through all the books that I read in the month of May. I feel like in terms of the quality of books that I read this month, I had a pretty good month because I found 2 5-star reads, which was so good because I feel like I've been in the biggest reading slump and I haven't found a 5-star read since X's and O's in February. So the fact that I found 2 5 stars this month makes me so freaking happy. So I'm really excited to be talking about the books that I read in May. If you guys want to see the books on my June TBR, I'll have that video linked down below because I use my TBR jar to pick out those books. But with that being said, let's go through the 5 books that I read in the month of May. I started the month off by reading It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is a Grumpy Sunshine small town romance. So we follow Piper and Brendan. Piper is like this LA socialite, major party girl, kind of reminded me of Poppy from the movie Wild Child, but like an adult version of Poppy. And her stepdad sends her and her sister Hannah to this small fishing town in Washington to kind of teach Piper a lesson and for her to hopefully grow up and also find out more about her biological dad who used to live in that small town. She runs into Brendan, who is like this grumpy fisherman, and they have a few run-ins with each other and they do not get along. They are complete opposites. Brendan thinks that Piper is like this snob who is not gonna last a minute in this small fishing town. So it's following not only their romance but also a lot of character growth with Piper, which I really enjoyed. I loved these 2 characters so much. I feel like they balanced each other out really well because Brendan is kind of set in his routines. He doesn't really like to try new things or anything like that, and I feel like Piper really pushed him out of his comfort zone to try new things and experience new experiences, and Brendan really grounded Piper. So I really loved their relationship dynamics, and I also really just loved seeing Piper's character growth and the small town. Oh my god, I feel like this small fishing town along with the side characters were probably one of my favorite things about this book. This small town in particular I feel like is probably one of my favorite small towns that I've read in a small town romance. I really enjoyed this book. I feel like this is the book that kind of got me out of that reading slump that I was in for 2 months, but I rated this one 4.5 stars. I'm so excited to read Hook, Line and Sinker, which is the 2nd book. That's actually on my June TBR, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be getting to that one very soon. Then I read Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. This was my first Lucy Score book and it was so fun. This is, I would say, a reverse Grumpy Sunshine. So the girl is grumpy and the guy is sunshine. I wouldn't really say the girl is super grumpy, but she gave me grumpy vibes. Like this book did give me Grumpy Sunshine vibes, just roles reversed. So we follow Maggie. She is a house flipper. She basically travels around the country and does home renovations and stuff. And she also is a YouTube content creator, which I loved that aspect of the book. It was so fun to read about. And she is not a relationship person. She doesn't really do relationships at all. She doesn't want to settle down, and now she's in the small town of Idaho, and she hires this really hot landscaper to help her out with this new house flipping project. And the landscaper, Silas, is like head over heels in love with Maggie, but Maggie's like, no, I don't date like people that I work with. I don't do relationships. I'm not going to settle down. Like, we can hook up, but like nothing more than that. And he's like trying to convince her to stay and like, you know, that she can be a relationship person. Like, you know, maybe she hasn't met the right person yet. And I really enjoyed this book. It was just so fun. As someone who loves like home decor, home renovation kind of stuff, I really loved reading about that in this book. And also the relationship was so fluffy and sweet and cute, but also kind of spicy, but like minimal spice. And I don't know, it was just such a fun read. I just really loved reading all about the home renovation stuff. And Silas is like major cinnamon roll golden retriever book boyfriend energy. So if you love like a cinnamon roll guy, you will definitely love this book. You'll love him as a book boyfriend because he was major golden retriever energy, and the way he treats Maggie and the way he's so in love with her, I loved it. We love a book where the guy falls first. Like, it just gets me every single time. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. And this was my first 5-star read of May, and first 5-star read in like 2-3 months. Then I read You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thau. Now I was so excited to pick this book up because first of all, the cover is absolutely stunning, like we love. But the concept of this book sounded so interesting to me. We basically follow Sam and Julie. They have been dating throughout high school and they're like in their final year of high school. I think they graduated, I can't remember. But then Sam unfortunately dies and you kind of follow Julie as she's kind of like in denial, grieving, mad, sad, all of those feelings. And then one day Julie actually picks up her phone to go and listen to an old voicemail from Sam. But then Sam actually picks up the phone even though he's dead. And it's kind of like their last chance to say goodbye and for Julie to kind of heal and move on. I don't know, that concept just sounded so interesting to me and so sad. So I was really interested to read this book. And you also follow a then and now perspective as well. So you do get to see like their relationship before he died as well. But I don't know, for me, I found the concept to be really cool, but I feel like the execution could have been better because I couldn't really connect to the book as much as I thought I was going to connect to it. I thought I was going to be obsessed, like absolutely like 5-star read or something, but it just didn't hit for me in the way that other emotional reads have hit me before. So that kind of disappointed me a little bit. I just kind of was expecting to be more invested in the story, but I kind of wasn't really super invested and I was kind of getting a little bit bored as well throughout this book. It did take me a while to get into it and I ended up actually going between the physical copy and the audiobook because I don't know, every time I kept going to pick this book up physically, I couldn't. It was kind of boring me, so I was listening to the audiobook most of the time. But I did end up rating this one 3 stars. I feel like this book had so much potential to be a lot better. It just didn't hook me in and have me invested as much as I thought it was going to. Then my other 5-star read, probably my favorite book of the month and my favorite Grumpy Sunshine book overall, The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This book, oh my god, I am literally obsessed. It is so good. I have no words. It makes me so excited to pick up the other 2 books because I really enjoyed this book. Plus this was my first Lauren Asher book and now I am convinced that I want to read every single Lauren Asher book because I really enjoyed this one. But this one is a Grumpy Sunshine workplace boss employee romance and it's also a billionaire romance as well. It's the first book in the Dreamland Billionaires series and this one is following Rowan and Zara. Rowan's grandfather passed away and in order for him to get his inheritance he actually needs to take over Dreamland, which is basically like a fictional version of Disneyland, which was so fun. I loved that setting. It was so cool, especially since I'm such a big Disney gal. In order for him to actually receive that inheritance, he needs to renovate Dreamland, like make it better. And he ends up hiring Zara to be a part of this project. I feel like they were the perfect definition of Grumpy Sunshine. I feel like sometimes with Grumpy Sunshine books, not all the time, the grumpy is too grumpy and the sunshine is too much sunshine and rainbows where it's like cringe. But I feel like this was a good balance of Grumpy Sunshine. This is like the type of Grumpy Sunshine that I want to read in every Grumpy Sunshine book. I loved Zara. I loved that she had such a sunshine, bubbly, positive personality, but like she wasn't too sunshine where it kind of came off as childish and annoying. I feel like that was like the perfect balance of sunshine because throughout the whole book, I saw so much of myself in Zara and I think that's why I really enjoyed her character in this book in general is because I was like, this character is so me, like I can relate so much to her. Also, she is a POC and she is curvy as well. So I was like, I love that representation in this book. And Rowan, his grumpiness, like the fact that he hates pretty much everyone, but he has a soft spot for Zara. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed this book. It was so fun. I loved the setting. I loved the banter. Oh my god, the banter between Zara and Rowan was hilarious. I was highlighting so much when I was annotating this book because the banter between these 2 characters, oh my god. Unreal. It was so funny. I was literally laughing out loud at some of the parts in this book because the sass that Zara has and the way she stands up for herself every single time when everyone else is like absolutely terrified of Rowan is everything to me. And yeah, I wish I could read this book again for the first time because I am literally obsessed, and I cannot wait to continue the rest of the series and find out more about the other two brothers because I really enjoyed this one. It was so good, so fun. Highly recommend because this is definitely one of my favorite books already of 2023. I really enjoyed it. Obviously this one is 5 stars. And the last book I read in May I kind of listened to as an audiobook, and that was The Book Boyfriend by Carly Perrin, which is a short story novella, and it's also following a main character that is named Zara, same name as the girl in the fine print. Zara doesn't really have the best relationship track record, and she's kind of given up on love completely, and her sister, who's a big romance book girly, basically drags Zara along to this book convention where you can meet authors and stuff like that. And then Zara actually meets this guy named Jackson, who is literally the epitome of a book boyfriend, and his ex actually wrote a book about him, so hence the title of The Book Boyfriend. And obviously Jackson and Zara meet and they end up falling in love, or falling in lust, I guess, because the book is only set in a 2-day weekend. And the only thing is that Jackson's working visa in the UK expires in like a couple weeks, and before he has to actually head back home. Honestly, I can't really remember too much about this book because I did read this one or listen to it closer to the start of the month, but I do remember rating this one 3 stars. One thing about short stories and novellas, especially when it comes to romance, is that it can come across as very insta-lovey, and this one was very insta-lovey. I mean, it was literally spanned out in a 2-day weekend, so it was very insta-love, which isn't really my thing, but I didn't mind the story too much. I feel like the story would have had so much more potential if it was longer, if it wasn't a novella, but I didn't mind it too much, so I did rate that one 3 stars. So that concludes my May reading wrap up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, or what your favorite book that you read this month was. Like I said, my June TBR is already up, so go check that out if you want to see the books that are currently on my June TBR, and give this video a huge thumbs up if you did enjoy watching, and subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every single week, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!